Welcome to the simply luxurious kitchen, made here at a Papillon in my home kitchen, inspired by what I find in my garden, the local farmers markets, and meals I enjoy while out and about. Join me as I share seasonal fare to elevate the everyday meal.
And welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make a dessert that is classic French recipe.
This season is all about adding simple touches of flavor to elevate favorite French recipes. And most importantly, discover how to enjoy stepping into your kitchen. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Simply Luxurious Kitchen. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm excited to have you in the kitchen today because I had to get right in here. This last weekend, my peaches became ready to harvest. And yes, I have a peach tree in Bend, Oregon. Was completely blown away by this reality when I first saw my house, when I saw it a couple years ago. It was about July, and this one peach tree, which I didn't realize was a peach tree until I looked closely, and I looked closer and I was thinking to myself, where have I ever seen a peach tree in Bend? I haven't. I'm sure there are a few people that have them, but I'm fortunate to be one of them. Anyway, this is my third summer with my peach tree. Now, 2 of those summers were fantastic, and then last year was not, and it was completely my fault. So peach trees blossom in, at least here, in the late April, early May. But in June, we still have frosts. So, as you can see here, I did my best to try to protect the blossoms of the peach tree in late April, early May this year. And I didn't save all the blossoms because they all kind of clumped around where I was able to keep the wrap around the tree. But come late August, I started to realize how many I actually had. And I was tickled pink. They're quite large. They're like the size of a softball, as you can see here. And I think that was a benefit too. I had fewer, but they had room to grow and get bigger. So I'm learning how to care for this tree, and I'm so tickled to have it. With that said, I needed to figure out what to do with all these peaches. So I did give a handful, if not more than a few handfuls, away to my neighbors. And I'm sure a few people walking by picked a few off the tree as well. But I've made some jam, as you can see here, and I'll share a recipe link or a link to that recipe so you can make your own jam. So simple. I've never made jam before until I had this peach tree, and it is really quite simple. I've also made crepes, so orange crepes with almond and creme fraiche, and I'll also share a link to a recipe for that. But the classic is a peach pie. Now, I've grown up with peach pies, and they were good. But they didn't do anything for me for whatever reason. I had my other favorites. Fast forward to this September. I gave my peaches to my neighbors, and one of my neighbors is a great pie maker. And she gave me a piece of peach pie she made. I had it saved for dessert later in the day. And I sat down to enjoy this peach pie. And in my first bite, I said, whoa, something is different. I knew it was something citrus. I immediately jumped to lemon. Turns out it was lime juice. Lime juice. This would have been my favorite pie, I have a feeling, when I was younger and as I was growing up, if that would have been in the combination. As it turns out, lemon meringue pie was my favorite. So I guess I have a thing for citrus. But in this case, it's lime, which is amazing. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to make a peach tart with all this combination and kind of make it my own with a subtle different flavors of honey and ginger. So let's get into making peach tarts with a boost of flavor that'll knock your socks off as well as your gas. Let's get into this. Okay, so what I'd like to do first is make the crust. I've already done that. It's in the fridge. My crust is what I use for all tarts. Now I'm just making 2 small tarts, but I will also include a recipe for a full pie, top and bottom crust. But whatever you make the flour twice as much as the butter, and make sure it's unsalted butter, best quality of butter, best quality of flour. So when I made this for just 2 small tarts, because I'm going to put mine in 2 small tarts, you can also do square full size. And I love this one. Makes it easy for slices. But I'm just gonna make 2 because I want to free, maybe 3, depends on how much I have, because I want to save 2 of the 3 for later this winter. And peaches also freeze really well. You can prepare them, put them in a Ziploc bag, and they actually freeze really well for winter enjoyment. But what I used was simply 1/3 cup of unsalted butter, 2/3 cup flour, and then I added about a tablespoon of sugar, one tablespoon approximately of apple cider vinegar, and approximately 2 tablespoons of cold water. Oh, and don't forget the salt, 1 teaspoon of salt. Then you put that in the fridge and you just give it at least 30 minutes, and that's what it's been doing right now. So while it's still refrigerating, let's make the filling. So you're just going to prepare your peaches. Now with peaches, you have different approaches. Some people like to blanch the peaches in hot water so the skins can easily come off, and then you let them cool or run cold water on them and then just peel the skin off. I will tell you this, if a peach is really ripe, the skin will just come off. As far as you can just pull it off with your finger. It's so simple, and that's what my peaches have been doing. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's very simple. But again, you can blanch them in hot water, just like for a minute, take them out, put them next, let them cool, and run them under cold water, and then you can just peel that skin off. So let's get our peaches ready to go here. Now, some of these peaches have fallen on the ground, and I say don't toss those. You do want to clean them, you want to check them. See how easily that pit came out? But don't just say, I can't use this. Now see how the skin is just popping off. Now some people might not want to sit here and tediously tear this off. I understand, but look at that. If it's right, it's gonna come right off. Now some of my peaches you'll see, looks like they have freezer burn, like there's a spot of freezer burn. You can easily just take your knife and slice that off. And that doesn't change the flavor or anything. And this is sometimes that's what happens with the weather that you live in, okay? And you're not gonna let a peach go bad because of that. No, 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 no. For 2 small tarts, I would do 3 to 4 peaches, full-size peaches. You can always do more, and again, the filling can be saved, and you can freeze that. So it's not a bad thing to make too much. I think that's a key thing here too. All right, I'm gonna get busy with my peaches. This one needs a little more attention. It is a little bit too ripe, but I cannot let it go to waste. And I'll be back ready to add all the other lovely ingredients. All right, so I have 4 peaches cubed up here. Now, some people like their peaches lengthwise. It's up to you, it's totally up to you. I always like to create bites. So whatever is a bite size is what I usually try to create, unless it's for looks. And I understand if you want to make it for looks, then absolutely make them lengthwise. Okay, so we have, I would say here about 3 cups, 2 to 3 cups of peaches. Again, you can double this, triple this for a pie or a larger tart. Now, you don't have to add that much sugar, which is what I love about this recipe. So I'm just gonna add about 1/8 cup of sugar. So not even a full cup, 1/4 cup, even this is a 1/4 cup. So 1/8 cup. Now we're gonna zest two of our limes, and the other one we'll just keep. I don't think we're gonna need it. So we're gonna zest 2 limes, just right in there. And we're also going to use the juice, but we want to always zest first because it's firmer and easier to zest. Just get the top part there. Don't go down into the pith. Oof, I can already smell it, and that is exactly the flavor that I choose. I happened to go to a concert that night, my first concert in a long time, and it was outdoors, and it was just lovely. And I told myself, you're gonna come back and enjoy this dessert, but you have to go to the concert first, which was good because then I stayed put and I didn't go buy all the food that is so delicious at those concerts. Anyway, I came home, sat down, about 10 o'clock at night, and my eyes about just popped out of my head. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. paired it with a hot cup of tea, and was beating a trail to my neighbor's door the next day. What did you put in this? It's so good. And she shared with me the recipe. All right, so now we have zest of 2 limes. I would say about 2 tablespoons. So 1 to 2 tablespoons of zest. It's not a bad thing to have more. And now, there. There's 2 different ways you can juice a lime. I love doing it with my fork, but you can absolutely use a zester because it keeps the seeds. So I usually do it over the top of the zester, but then you just put your fork in, pierce it just like that, and turn it. There's no seeds, which is what's nice. And it'll take about, you want 1/8 of a cup of the juice. It's about the same amount of sugar as you have lime juice. Good. Woo. And you can also do that one, just have fun. I just find that more difficult. The fork makes it easier. You can just get it right in there. It's smaller. It's easier to clean. Okay, one more. There we go. All right, I'm gonna measure that out. Yeah, that's almost a perfect 1/8 of a cup. Add that there. We're gonna add about a tablespoon of honey. Yeah. So a little different, but still another element of layer of flavor. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah, this is just pretty to look at. There we go. Now, you have 2 choices. If you have cornstarch, use cornstarch. You want about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of cornstarch. If you don't have cornstarch, use flour. It's not going to do exactly the same thing, but it'll still do some of the same thing. So this is where you kind of just work with it. This is kind of where you just work with what you have. So a tablespoon and a half. And I'm going to mix it up. So simple. Looks like cantaloupe right now. It's just so ripe, so ripe. I mean, that was what was so beautiful about picking these peaches. Some of them were ready to go. I mean, you could just put your hand around them, not even tug. I just twisted maybe an 1/8 of an inch, and it would just pop off. And the other ones, if they were, I was like, nope, okay, you're not ready yet. I'll wait. And that was what was fun, So for about 4 or 5 days, maybe a week, I was pulling peaches off. It was kind of fun. Not just kind of, it was fun. So the beauty of having your own fruit, but then making sure that it lasts. And that's why part of the reason why I want to make small ones today is I'm going to enjoy one of these, but then I want to enjoy them later on. And so by making them, and I do enjoy doing this with all of my tarts that I make, because I usually don't need a large tart, I'll make smaller ones and freeze the second or third helping and enjoy it later on. It just saves so much time, and all you have to do is heat it up in an oven, and it's just so good. All right, that is what we need there. All right, so while you're rolling out the tart, go ahead and turn your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And that should come to ready temp by the time you're done preparing the dough. So we have the dough out of the fridge. What I like to do with sweet tarts is I like to put down a little bit of flour on my rolling area, but also a little bit of sugar, because it is a sweet tart. All right. Have my disc of flour or of dough here. It's been chilling for at least 30 minutes. We're gonna roll it out. That dough is so good. Just give it a taste. Okay. Bring the first dough over. Tuck it in. And you do not have to blind bake this before you put the filling in. Everything will cook the way you need it to in the first and only go round. There we go. Quick little roll over the top. Beautiful, beautiful. Make sure everything's sealed. There's one. Ready to go. Now you could have easily just sliced that disc in half. That's probably what I should have done so it's less rolling things out. But you can also just do it this way. Roll it back up together and roll it out one more time. That dough is good. It holds together nicely too. Roll the top. Now another ingredient you could put in here, and it's just a preference of flavor, is you could put some ginger in here. That would be a nice element as well. For me, I like ginger, it's fine, but it was the lime that really spoke to me and what I want to keep at the forefront. But it's totally up to you, and I think that's what's beautiful about adding these simple flavors from the garden. What do you have? I don't have a lime tree, obviously, but I have peaches. Okay, what's gonna make that peach sing for my preference? All right, let's add these. I have a slotted spoon here, so it doesn't get too juicy, but you do want some of the juices. And again, there's no topping. You could put a topping on. You could put a second crust on. You could make this as a rustic tart, absolutely, and no metal casing here to hold it. This is gonna be so good. Smell it. But the beautiful thing about making small tarts is it takes less time to cook, because this will take about 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, so we are set, going in the oven for 30 to 40 minutes at 375 degrees, and then we get to enjoy it. All right, the peach tarts are ready to come out of the oven. Let's take a look. So that was, I added 7 more minutes, so that was 37 minutes in my oven. And you're gonna wanna let them cool. But what I love about these is a little bit of char on top. Just check the crust. Make sure the crust is lightly brown, then you know it's good to go. First though, we're going to let it rest for about 5 to 10 minutes, and remove them from their tart pan, and then serve them up and give them a try. All right, are you ready to try our peach tart with lime? Oh, I am. Oscar's been sitting over here very patiently, smelling something wonderful coming out of the kitchen, and I'm just glad he's here. All right, so I love my tarts with a little bit of ice cream, but I actually go for gelato. So I'm gonna have some vanilla, salted vanilla with my tart. But first, just take a look. Again, nothing fancy. We're going for flavor. We know it's a peach. You could even put a lime slice, just so people knew what it was, or not, and let them guess. And that's what the fun is too. Let's take a bite. Oh, the crust. It's crusty on the bottom. See, no blind bake necessary. Ready, Norman? Here we go. That lime. That seals the deal for me. It makes it fresher to me, and I have the peach that I love. That just amps up the peach flavor even more. Let's put some gelato on it and see how it tastes. Now, let's try it with gelato. So good, so good. A little messy, but still, it's so good. The warm from the tart and the cool from the gelato, the mixing of that salted vanilla, that lime, and the peaches, so good, so good. Simple touches of flavor. Change an entire dish. Take it to a whole nother level. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your food. Enjoy stepping in your